Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest today is Julia Jessen from the Cedar Rapids Museum of Art to talk about upcoming exhibits. Julia, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's always great to have you come on and talk about what's going on at the Art Museum, but this time, extra special because we are teaming up, sort of, on an exhibit. We're not providing anything for the exhibit. Our art collection is rather small here at KCCK, but we have partnered on All That Jazz.
Yeah, great partnership with you guys, celebrating a special anniversary.
50th year, as we know, yep.
Yeah, and it brings together, to celebrate this 50th anniversary, brings together the photographs of Carl Van Vechten and George T. Henry, representing some photographs that they've done of jazz musicians and people that have been inspired by jazz as well. So a great chance to bring together work from these two artists.
It's a story that we know well around here, but it doesn't get told terribly often. But Carl Van Vechten, if you know Van Vechten Park, his mom, Ada, founded the first Cedar Rapids Public Library. They were a leading family in Cedar Rapids for some generations. But Carl did not hang around Cedar Rapids. He was a pretty well-known writer and photographer and spent most of his life in New York, where he chronicled a large part of the Harlem Renaissance. I mean, I think a lot of what we think of as the Harlem Renaissance is as a result of his activities, because he wrote a book, and of course he took all these photos of great artists.
Yeah. Over, I think about a little more than 30 years from the 1930s to the time that he died in 1964, I think. He took 15,000 photographs that we have prints of, not in our collection only, but just in general, 15,000 prints in entirety, which is incredible. This incredible record, not only of the Harlem Renaissance, but of all kinds of different writers, musicians, actors, public figures. He was very much a mover and shaker in New York City in that time. And so his photographs are fascinating. They represent incredible personalities.
And there are, particularly, actors and musicians who the photos that we know or the movies that we've seen them in were when they were in, older, late middle age. But I know when I was looking at some of, particularly of the actors, like, wow, that's what, and I can't even think of one off the top of my head, but oh my gosh, that's what they look like when they were 27.
Yeah. It's so fun. It's so fun to see these photos. And and just the way that he thought through how he wanted to pose them, the backgrounds that he was using, the props sometimes that he would bring in. Some of these people he photographed, multiple times throughout their lives, taking a ton of different exposures, and some he only took a few. So there's a really interesting variety in the way that he's capturing people.
Carl, as we said, left Cedar Rapids pretty much permanently, I think, as a fairly young man. He referred to it throughout his life as that unloved town. So at the other end of the spectrum, you have George Henry, who lived here, grew up here and lived here his entire life and photographed so many Cedar Rapids people and scenes.
Yeah. A very different story. Became the co-college visual historian and captured pretty much anything having to do with co-college, but also Cedar Rapids in general. So any kind of big moments, but then the smaller day-to-day things too. He was present for those. And it's really nice having George's photos in the exhibition as well, because where Carl did a lot of portrait photography, George has a lot of performance photography. And so there's a nice juxtaposition there where you're getting to see the personality of the artist as it comes through in performance and not only in kind of that portrait setting that Carl Van Vechten created.
And of course, knowing too that these performances took place right here in Cedar Rapids, most of them at Co-College. There's some great action shots of Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington, and so many great musicians, and and considering they're candids, the construction of the photos is remarkable.
Yeah, just the angles that he would take on the performance, the way that he, again, would be able to capture the personality, even if he was kind of far away from the action, a little bit more removed from it. Still that way that he's able to construct his image to give you a sense of what was going on and make you feel kind of like you're there, you're experiencing the performance.
So it's a combined exhibit that's going to be up all summer long, but we have some activities coming up this week to open it up.
Yeah, so Dennis and I are both going to be present on Wednesday.
Yes, art expert Dennis Green is joining. Yeah.
So this will be for our Art Bites program, which is something that we do monthly, the first Wednesday of the month, kind of a lunchtime program. It begins at 12:15, and this will be this Wednesday, June 4th, I believe. It's the 4th. And so Dennis and I will be giving kind of a little tour of the exhibition. I'll be talking a little bit more about these two men as artists, about how the exhibition came together, some of the process that went into it. And I'm hoping that Dennis can provide some more information on some of these musicians that we have in the
a few
exhibition.
stories, I think,
I'm
of
sure you do.
interest. Maybe not stories that took place in Cedar Rapids, although maybe. But yeah, I think we'll, as we kind of look over the different photographs, I will learn not only about the artists, but also about the subjects.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that program. I think that'll be a really fun one to do. And then this Thursday, June 5th, we have our opening reception for 3 of our newest exhibitions, including All That Jazz. And that's on Thursday, June 5th from 5 to 6:30, free, open to the public. So we're excited about that too.
There's usually some refreshments and stuff that is served.
Yeah, light refreshments. And this time we're excited too to have some musical accompaniment.
To fit with our Harlem Renaissance theme, we're bringing in the Roots of Rhythm Trio, which is a trio that kind of pays tribute to that era of jazz. Pat Smith, Rich Wagar, and usually Lynn Hart. Lynn is unavailable, so Bill Carson from Co-College and husband to our own Laura Carson here at KCCK is going to sub in on the read. So it's just going to be great fun.
Yeah, and we don't usually have musical performances at the reception, so kind of a special, exciting thing for us to have that going on during the reception as well. So
you mentioned that the reception on Thursday is free. Anybody can come.
Yep.
What about the Art Bites?
It's also a free program.
Okay.
Which is also great because you can show up for Art Bites, and then you also have access to the rest of the galleries afterwards.
Make an afternoon of it.
It gives you free admission for the rest of your time there.
Yeah, if you haven't been to the museum in a while, I never get tired of the permanent exhibits. The Roman busts and Marvin Cohn, and of course Grant Wood.
Of course.
All the stuff that's up all the time.
Yeah.
But definitely check out All That Jazz. And you mentioned 2 other exhibits launching this week. What are those?
So we have Maud Ortiz ceramics from the collection of Norman Sherman and Virginia Chambers Sherman. This opened up in April, but this is kind of the first chance we've had to really celebrate its opening. That exhibition looks at pottery from this town in northern Mexico, where a tradition has kind of grown up in the mid-20th century all the way through to the present, where they're very much inspired by historic ceramics that have been found in the Casas Grandes region, which is right around there in northern Mexico. But then they've gone in their own direction. They've created their own kind of individual styles inspired by the historic style, but not tied to it in any way. So they explore many different things in their pottery. Their vessels are all kind of tied together by being very thinly walled, very finely done ceramics, using local clay, and all hand painted on the surface as well. So it's a really lovely exhibition. The pots are incredible and show incredible artistic detail and skill. And we also have a little bit of a multimedia component in that exhibition. We have a little short film that's playing, looking at a couple of the artists who are represented in the exhibition. So you also get to see them at work, which is kind of nice too, to see part of the process of the creation of those works. So that's one of the exhibitions.
And the other one is Impressionism, yes?
Yeah, so Strokes of Genius, American Impressionism and Its Legacy, opens up this week, actually. So on Thursday will be the first day to see it. And that's looking at this kind of history of American Impressionism, but also the ways in which even today artists are still inspired by kind of this legacy of Impressionism, the way that they're incorporating painterliness and an influence of light and color in their work, the way that that's still being felt today. And in our collection, we're pretty strong in American Impressionism. It's the style that was popular as the museum first started getting going. And so some of the very first pieces that were collected by the museum are in that kind of American Impressionist style. So you'll actually see that in the exhibition, a couple of the very first pieces that were collected by the museum. So a really nice kind of history of the museum, too, through the gallery and through this exhibition.
These 3 exhibits are open at the Cedar Rapids Museum of Art. And again, 2 free opportunities to check all of these exhibits out. But we hope you stop by and check out all that jazz. Yeah. Wednesday with the Art Bites, Julia and me are going to be talking about the exhibit, doing a little bit of touring of that. And then the reception on Thursday at 5 p.m. with live music from the Roots of Rhythm Trio. If people would like more information about hours, I was going to say admission prices, but I also happen to know it's free summer.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, so we have free summer starting in July, and it runs through July and August. So come out, check us out. Admission's entirely free during that time, so you can come whenever you'd like. But in the meantime, until then, we do have our free Thursday evenings. So from 5 to 8 p.m., come on out, and we're free during that time as well. So check it out.
So if you want to know museum hours or double check the times of the events that we've been talking about, you can visit the website, which is
www.crma.org.
Julia, thanks for being with me.
Thank you so much, Dennis. I appreciate it.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio most weekdays at 10:30, on demand at kcck.org/culture, or subscribe using your favorite podcast player. Watch our videos on the KCCK Facebook and YouTube channels. Our producer is Lydia Kilgore. The Culture Crawl theme is composed by Vivian Shanley. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.